Logical fallacy, false dilemma. In critical thinking, a false dilemma, also known as a false dichotomy, is a common logical fallacy in which an argument presents a limited number of options, when in reality there are more options available. The fallacy occurs when an argument presents only two options, as if they were the only two available, and then claims that one option is superior to the other. False dilemmas are commonly used in advertising, politics, and other areas where persuasive communication is important. A false dilemma is a fallacy because it limits the options available to the audience, making it appear as though there are only two choices, when in reality there may be other options available that have not been presented. The argument presents a binary choice, forcing the audience to choose between two options that may not be the best or only options available. This fallacy is often used to make one option appear more favorable by comparing it to a less desirable alternative. For example, a politician may say, "We can either cut taxes or increase government spending. If we cut taxes, the economy will improve, but if we increase government spending, we will go bankrupt." This argument presents a false dilemma because it limits the options to only two choices, when in reality there may be other options available, such as decreasing spending in certain areas or increasing taxes on certain groups. Another example of a false dilemma is when someone argues that there are only two ways to think about a particular issue. For instance, someone might argue that either you're with us or against us on a particular issue. This argument presents a false dilemma because it implies that there are only two options available and that the only way to support one option is to oppose the other. This is a fallacy because there may be other options available, or there may be ways to support both options. The false dilemma fallacy is also common in advertising, where products are presented as the only options available. For example, a car company may advertise a new car as the best option available, claiming that it is better than all other cars on the market. This argument presents a false dilemma because it implies that there are no other options available that may be better suited to the consumer's needs. One way to avoid falling into the false dilemma fallacy is to consider all the available options before making a decision. It is important to recognize that there may be more than two options available, and that those options may not be mutually exclusive. In some cases, it may be possible to support multiple options at the same time, or to combine different options to create a solution that is more effective than any single option. Another way to avoid the false dilemma fallacy is to ask questions and challenge assumptions. When someone presents a binary choice, it is important to ask whether those are the only two options available, and whether there are other options that have not been presented. It is also important to challenge assumptions about the options presented, and to consider whether those options are truly mutually exclusive. In conclusion, the false dilemma fallacy is a common logical fallacy that presents a limited number of options as if they were the only options available. This fallacy is often used in advertising, politics, and other areas where persuasive communication is important. To avoid the false dilemma fallacy, it is important to consider all the available options before making a decision, and to challenge assumptions about those options. By doing so, we can make better decisions and avoid falling into the trap of false dilemmas.